My name is James Monnat. I graduated from Sacred Heart with an MBA back in 2014. I run a business growth consultancy firm here in Luxembourg. I'm American, but I've been in Europe ever since I graduated with a BBA back in the States a long time ago. I, like many people here and like many expats here in Luxembourg, I kind of followed my spouse here, who was offered a postdoc research position here in Luxembourg. And what was supposed to be just a one-year mission turned into a 12-year life. Yeah. Like many Americans who have decided to go into business, after I graduated, I had planned, of course, to go back and get my MBA. So I came over to Europe to do an internship, and that one-year assignment turned into something bigger, that I followed all the way to Paris. And in the beginning, I was still very insistent on getting the MBA, But as I progressed in my career, that goal became less and less attainable for me. But still, when we were in Luxembourg, it was my wife who pointed out that the Sacred Heart offers an MBA program, and so it seemed like a no-brainer to me. I think what stood out to me was how faithful Sacred Heart is to the classic American model of graduate studies. And I think most Europeans or non-Americans would find that in a typical classroom setting here overseas, it's very much oriented towards lecture, So there's a professor up there preaching to the students who faithfully sort of write everything down. Here, it's expected that everybody sort of participate. So it's very much a discussion-led sort of learning process. So the interaction really stands out. The fact that when you go to class, you can never expect to just sit there and absorb. I mean, you're not only expected to participate and encouraged to do so, you're compelled to. And what's fascinating about Sacred Heart is this overwhelming sense of diversity, which is actually quite exhilarating. In fact, I mean, there were some classes that I had where you had 18 students and there was like 13 or 14 different nationalities, It's incredible, You have people from all over walks of life who end up for some reason or another in Luxembourg, and all these different viewpoints. And so that coupled together with the expected, encouraged, and pretty much mandatory interaction leads to some really amazing learning experiences. And I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I was a consultant before coming in to the program, and for me, it wasn't necessarily an issue with the work balance. I mean, for me, this was a set of tools that I started using on a daily basis. So I was actually very eager to go to class after work, because everything I learned one evening, I would apply towards my own clients the next day. Fascinating. But the problem that I had, of course, and most people find, is sort of trying to figure out how do you balance the obligations that you might have at home. And for me, I had 2 small children, so it was somewhat challenging, to be away from them so long. But it becomes a routine, like everything else, As long as you go into this knowing that you're going to have to accommodate that, it's fine. It's changed in a way that's slightly unexpected. For me, the MBA isn't necessarily about getting a certificate. I mean, as a small business owner and a consultant. So for me, it was more about the possibility of engaging and interacting with what you can consider the future business elite of Luxembourg, in many ways. And the other thing was, again, getting that knowledge that I could apply the next day in my daily job. So what came out of that, what transpired from there, is that I picked up on a few ideas, through the program. It actually led to business opportunities, So in many ways, I mean, my career has been if not necessarily changed, but the trajectory has sort of been determined by what happened to me during the MBA program. So the MBA itself as a accomplishment hasn't really personally affected me, but the positive thing, I mean, the thing that's really been useful for me is the network that I developed through this, which I'm still exploiting, ever since, and also the applied knowledge that gives me the confidence to do what I do,